Good evening. Welcome to the Arlington Public Schools regular board meeting. I'm so glad that you are all here. I wanted to say thank you for being here and for caring deeply about the issues that affect our children, our schools, and our community. That passion is important. And the public comment portion of this meeting is the time for your voices to be heard. We're going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. We're going to start with our Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led by our student advisor, Maddie Van Beek.
Please rise for Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next up, we'll have our roll call attendance. Madam Clerk.
Director Diamond,
Here.
Director Kelly,
Here.
Director Watts,
Here.
President Levesque,
Here.
Director Knapp,
Here.
Student Advisor Van Beek,
Here.
Student Advisor Phillips,
Here.
Superintendent Sweeting.
Here. Thank you. Good to have us all in attendance tonight. Next up, we'll have our approval of the agenda. Is there any changes anyone would like to make to the agenda, or do we have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
It's been moved by Director Diamond and seconded by Director Watts to approve the agenda as presented. Madam Clerk, can we take a vote, please?
Director Diamond,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Watts,
Aye.
President Levesque,
Aye.
Director Knapp.
Aye. Thank you. The approval of the agenda has passed, and it is what it is. Thank you. Next up is our approval of the minutes portion of the meeting. We have two sets of minutes on our list to approve tonight. The first one is our regular meeting minutes from August 11th. Do we have any changes anyone would like to make to the August 11th meeting minutes, or do we have a motion to approve them as presented?
Make a motion to approve the August 11th regular meeting minutes.
I second.
It's been moved by Director Knapp and seconded by Director Kelly to approve the minutes as presented. Madam Clerk.
Director Diamond,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Watts,
Aye.
President Levesque,
Aye.
Director Knapp.
Aye. The August 11th meeting minutes are approved as presented. Next up is our board all-day workshop minutes from August 18th. Is there any changes anyone would like to make to the minutes? Or do we have a motion to approve them as presented?
I'll make a motion to approve the board all-day workshop minutes. August 18th.
Second it.
It's been moved by Director Watts and seconded by Director Diamond to approve the board all-day workshop minutes from August 18th. Madam Clerk.
Director Diamond,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Watts,
Aye.
President Levesque,
Aye.
Director Knapp.
Aye. Thank you. Those minutes are approved also. And that brings us to the most exciting part of our meeting tonight, our public comment portion of the meeting. As we move into the public comment portion, I want to ask that we all commit to be respectful and have no interruptions, applause, or outbursts during our comments. If any interruptions do occur, I will pause the meeting briefly and remind everyone of these expectations. If disruptions continue, we will need to take a recess. Not all attendees may agree, but we are all here because we care. Let us work together to keep this space respectful and focused. I'm now going to read the official script and we will begin the public comment portion. The board recognizes the value of public comment on educational issues and the importance of involving members of the public in its meetings. Anyone addressing the board tonight, whether it be in person or virtually, has agreed to follow the instructions for public comment and limit comments to 3 minutes. The board does not respond to questions during the business meeting in order to comply with the State of Washington Open Public Meetings Act. The board's silence does not signal agreement or endorsement of the speaker's remarks. Depending on the nature of your topic or questions, the superintendent may ask staff to contact you to answer questions or provide information. The board president may interrupt or terminate an individual statement if it is uncivil or exceeds the allowed time. Each speaker will be given one opportunity to speak. Our first speaker tonight is Alexandria. Is she here in the audience?
She might be upstairs.
Or is she upstairs in our overflow room? Alexandria de Solomon Henning? Didn't get that right, I'm pretty sure.
Maybe online, maybe on Zoom.
We can check if Alexandria is possibly on Zoom.
There's someone coming.
There's someone come, thank you.
Sorry, it was downstairs.
Alexandria, thank you for coming. You may approach the podium. Thank you very much for your patience.
You're welcome.
We'll have 3 minutes and there will be a timer that you will be able to see.
Thank you all for hearing me speak today. I am speaking as a sister of someone who was at Marysville Pilchuck High School during the school shooting and now is a parent of a new coming freshman to your high school. When it comes to all student safety, this is not something to take lightly. With the current situation of letting someone come back to school who was expelled only 18 months ago, for bringing a loaded firearm to school, this is unacceptable. It does not matter how many checks and balances are put in place. There will never be a time where somebody who has done that is considered safe to be around every student back in school. I ran up the stairs, sorry. Because we, the parents of current students, don't know the extenuating circumstances of what happened on that day or what caused that child to bring a loaded gun and extra bullets to school, nor what that student's intentions were going to be. It's no longer a safe environment for them to be at school. And this is not a case of a child who forgot to go hunting with a weapon in their car like when we were all in school in the 90s. Something of the same sort of whoops accident. This was a case where a student in question intentionally brought a loaded gun to school, told other students he had the weapon, offered to show it to them in the bathroom with the intention of using it to harm other students who were attending there. By allowing the student back into school, you are also opening them up for more bullying because everybody is going to know that they are the child that did that, which opens them up to more bullying and ostracizing. But this can also take a much different route. They could be wanting to come back to school to take revenge, which there have been rumors of online. And unfortunately, neither one of these situations is one we should allow to take a chance with. There are many alternative places to go to school at, like online learning. This would be safe for everyone involved. The email that got sent out on Friday, August 22nd also did not put any ease to my mind of letting my child attend to school this year because it was stated that these are things we may choose to implement, not the fact that it was going to be happening every day for the rest of their time here at Arlington High School. It would be more beneficial for parents to know that if this was going to be allowed, that these safety and checks would be in place for the entire remainder of the time they were there at school.
Thank you, Alexandria.
That's all.
Thank you for sharing. Next up, we have Chad Schmidt. Is Chad here in the audience? Welcome, Chad.
Thank you. Dr. Sweeting, school board members, I appreciate the fact that you guys let us come up here and talk. I know this is kind of a emotional. A lot of people are pretty fired up over this, and I appreciate you guys taking your time and listening to us. My name is Chad Schmidt. I'm here as a dad. I'm alumni, and I'm also a local fire chief. And every day I go to work, I lead a group of men and women, and our only job is to protect the public. But my most important job is one as a dad, and that's to protect my children. Parents like me, we send our kids to school every day, and we expect that they come to school, learn, are safe, and come home in the afternoon. And the moment a loaded weapon is brought to school, all of that trust goes away. Our I want to start by saying this, though. I would like to show this kid grace. Okay? I would like to make a choice to give him help, guidance, counseling, whatever it is that he needs to rebuild his future. But that second chance cannot come at the expense of our children's safety. And it shouldn't be on the backs of hundreds of innocent kids at the high school. There are many other options that he can choose, that you could choose for him. And whether there's disagreements on what the state law will allow, I think there are ways around the decision that was made. I appreciate the fact that you have changed your decision in working with the parents, and that no longer is a case of him coming here. But this raises a really hard question. What happens next time, right? What happens when we allow a student to return like this? What does that tell the rest of the kids? That bringing a gun to school is forgivable as long as it wasn't fired? That you can come back at some point? That will bend the rules and overlook it? We can't afford to send that message. If we don't draw a hard line here today, we leave the door open for another student somewhere down the road to test the same boundaries. And I don't want my kids or their kids or your kids to pay for that mistake. This isn't about punishment, it's about protection. It's for my kids. Every child in this community needs to know that when a serious line gets crossed, the adults will stand up and stand firm. They need to know that the leaders in the community will stand up and protect them. You see a lot of the leaders in the community here. I wish I saw more up in front of me. In my profession, we talk a lot about mental health. And I can't tell you the amount of mental health concerns that this would have raised allowing the student to come back, the fear, all that kind of stuff. And I think if we compromise here today, we don't just risk today, we risk all of our kids tomorrow's. And I don't think that's acceptable.
Chad, your time is concluded.
On a separate note, I have to address the issue of leadership.
Chad,
I'm shocked and frankly deeply disappointed by the lack of leadership thrown throughout this situation.
your time is up.
The tone-deaf response by the district so far has been nothing short of appalling. And the message that went out Friday only
It's time
underscored
for somebody
that.
else. Please step down.
My hope, my expectation is that those of you that were elected and those of you entrusted with the leadership
Chad, I will have to
will do
ask
just
the
that,
authorities
and
to
lead
come
with
and remove
courage,
you.
lead with wisdom, and above all else, protect the students in this district.
Please find
Thanks.
staff. I want to remind everybody to stick to the 3-minute timer. We do have a lot of people signed up to speak. Next up is Rob Marchand. Rob, are you here in the audience? Welcome, Rob.
Hi.
It's your turn at the podium. Thank you.
Well, thank you all for having me here. I appreciate it. I'm just going to read what I prepared today. My name is Rob Marchand. I'm a worried parent urging you to reverse the decision to reinstate a student expelled in 2024. We're bringing a loaded handgun with extra magazines to our school. Labeling him rehabilitated while mandating constant teacher supervision, no backpack, and daily searches screams distrust, not reform. The choice shatters the confidence parents have in the commitment to our children's safety. Let's face facts. Youth gun offenders often repeat. A 2022 study found 62% of adults with juvenile gun records were rearrested, 14% for gun crimes. Another showed 59% of firearm offenders rearrested within a decade. Juveniles in treatment, 65% reoffended within a year. Handgun carrying among youth surged 41% in 20 years. In schools, firearm possession spiked 150% since 2020. 4.8% of high school kids carried guns last year. These aren't just numbers, they're red flags screaming danger. Reinstating this student risks our kids' lives. This plan is not safety, it's a gamble. Assigning a teacher to shadow one student all day drains resources to every child's education. It's not a solution, it's a Band-Aid that admits you don't fully trust this student, yet you ask us to. Parents send our kids here expecting a fortress of learning, not a testing ground for second chances. Research shows strict measures like expulsion deter weapons in schools, while leniency invites more incidents. Alternative programs like home-based interventions cut recidivism far better than reinstatement. Board, you all have a duty to protect every student. Don't let one risky decision undermine our trust. Keep the expulsion and choose safety. Thank you.
Next up is Stacy. Is Stacy here in the audience? Stacy Cameron. Might have to be on Zoom. And after Stacy will be Alexis. So if Alexis wants to be ready to go, all right, Alexis, come on up. And if Stacy is joining us later, then we will allow her to speak. Oh, maybe she's here. No, Carrie's. Next one, Alexis Lowe. Are you in the audience? Alexis Lowe. After Alexis is Alicia Garcia. Are you, Alicia? Alicia, welcome.
Thank you for letting me speak. I'm here for a few reasons, probably other than everybody else is here, but also for the same. I appreciate your guys' decision, the school's decision to backtrack what they had said about allowing the student to come to the school with our students. Other things that I wanted to address is that the school district has said that continuously they care about the student's safety, but then they do things like this. Along with, it seems that when we had a child in middle school, there was also an instance where we were, our student was allowed to change her name completely in the system. We were not informed. So when we went to go excuse her, they informed us that she was not anywhere to be found in the system, which obviously is an emergency. In an emergency, that's an issue, right? You want to be able to locate your child. And if you guys are allowing them to change their names without informing the parents, that's an issue. Another thing is, I'm not sure what's going on with post-middle school and whatever's working out there. I'm newer to the district, but it sounds like the issues didn't happen overnight. Somehow this school got ignored. And to me, if you guys are caring about the student safety, why are they still going to this school? I know it's up to us to pass a levy in order to rebuild a school. But like I said, this didn't happen overnight. Somebody let this go, and we still aren't getting answers for why it happened to be that way. And then another issue, probably my last issue here, Mr. Vogel at Arlington High School is verbally abusing students.
Actually, I'm going to ask you to stop. Can you pause the clock, please, Brenda? It sounds
In my
like you're
experience,
for libel or slanderous.
right, but this isn't slander. This isn't slander. There's plenty of people who can vouch for that he's verbally abusive to
Continue
students.
about a staff member, but please don't use their name.
Okay, well, there's a staff member at Arlington High School who's verbally abusing students. And for some reason, the school feels like they shouldn't have to do anything about it. They make you beat around the bush and beat around the bush and beat around the bush until you snap. And I think it's not right. I don't know why there's not being anything being done about that teacher, but it's getting ridiculous. And he's going to continue to abuse other students. And the school district is allowing it to happen. But again, I thought you guys cared about our students' safety. And to me, it doesn't sound like it. That's all I have to say.
Thank you for Next up is Chris Scott. Chris will be followed by Holly. So Holly wants to be ready.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for letting me talk. My name is Chris, and I am a parent and an aunt of multiple students in the district. I'm here tonight because I'm deeply concerned by the recent situation involving the student who brought a loaded handgun onto campus last year. I understand that the student will not be returning this fall, but what alarms me is that the district was prepared to allow him to return. Whether the change came from the district or from the family, the fact remains. The decision was on the table and parents were not informed. That should have never happened when safety of every student is at stake. This was not a minor infraction. Bringing a loaded firearm into school was an immediate life-threatening danger. Parents have a right to expect that such a situation will be handled with the utmost seriousness, transparency, and caution. Instead, what we saw was silence. I've heard that it was suggested that the district's hands were tied by state law, but RCW 28A.600.420 makes it clear that superintendents have the authority to modify expulsions on a case-by-case basis, and that nothing prevents a district from providing education in an alternative setting. Online school is an option. The law allows it. So why wasn't that path taken from the very beginning? I don't believe in raising concerns without offering solutions. The solution here is clear. When a student brings a loaded gun into school in person, return should not even be an option. Online school or another alternative placement should be the default. And longer term, we as a community should push in Olympia for stronger laws that allow permanent expulsion in these extreme cases. Even though this student will not be back on campus, the whole process has left parents shaken. We need more transparency, more empathy, more communication, and more assurance that the district will always prioritize safety above all else. Thank you for your time.
Next up, we have Holly, and after Holly will be Lindsay.
Thank you for hearing us out today. I am not a public speaker, but I'll try and get through this. A safe school is one where teaching and learning are not distracted. Disruptions are minimized. Violence, drugs, bullying, and fear are not present. Students are not discriminated against. Expectations for behavior are clearly communicated, and consequences for infractions are consistently and fairly applied. I believe that over the last couple of years, we've seen a significant increase in aggressive behavior, with school policies not being enforced. The re-entry of violent felons on campus needs to be addressed. According to OSPI guidelines, if students do not feel safe or their basic needs are not met, their ability to learn is diminished. I'm here to tell you that this is the case for our students. Enough is enough. We need clear consequences for violent crimes and demand transparency from our district to keep parents informed on situations involving guns on campus. OSPI provides guidance and support for districts to develop safety plans that cover prevention, mitigation, protection, response, and recovery from threats and hazards. I propose that we lean on the support of OSPI and apply for the Project Aware grant to expand mental health services, care, and education for the students in our district that have brought firearms onto campus or that might need it in the future. Tier 3 of Project Aware grant clearly states they provide support for students in need of wraparound services along with health screenings and support for school or home partnerships, as well as positive behavior interventions. Our schools promote prevention and intervention, but when we need it most to secure the safety for the few who are brave enough to alert faculty, along with the overall protection of our students, we see a lack of accountability. If you allow violent felons to return on campus, you are defending the offender instead of the victims and sending a message to our students that by speaking up, they are putting themselves at risk. We need you to stand up for safe schools and lean on alternative programs and measures for this child's education and any other future child for their mental health recovery. Your decision sends a message to our community and students whether or not you tolerate violence in our schools. We were lucky enough to prevent a school shooting. If these students didn't intervene, this could have been a very different situation. We need to make a stand and send a message that Arlington schools have zero tolerance for gun violence and will take action to protect our children against those who threaten their safety. Thank you.
Thank you, Holly. Next up is Lindsay. Is Lindsay available? After Lindsay is going to be Ken Klein.
Hi, good evening. I want to first thank God for pushing me to be here today and encouraging me on 3 separate occasions that this is where He wanted and needed me. This message is for the Arlington High School student who is at the center of all the recent controversy. God gives us free will to love Him or not. Likewise, in every situation, we have choices. You chose to sin and you paid the price. I have sinned and paid the price. We all have sinned and paid the price. Jesus, though He never sinned, but paid the ultimate price for us with His life for you and me, because He loves us so much. Let God give you peace. Let God show you true love, and let God bring you joy. Be faithful to Him and trust Him. There is no greater relationship than the one with God. Put Him first above all else and make Him your number 1 priority each day. God is your Father and your best friend. He longs for your love. And He put me here today to tell you He loves you so much and He forgives you. Cry out to your Father in heaven, take it all to Him, lay it at His feet, and find out what He has in store for you. Society will label you, but you have only one label that truly matters, and that is God's label for you, child. You are His child. We have all seen you fall. Now let us see you rise to be the man God planned you to be. You made a mistake. You paid for your sin. Now use that experience as your testimony to others about God's love. As you seek answers about what to do next in your life, you must seek the answers from God. Let Him guide you, because the only good and righteous path you can walk is the one God has already paid for you specifically. Don't seek guidance from your own flesh or from anyone else. God will show you or tell you if He wants you to take advice from someone other than Himself. In Luke 18:27, Jesus tells His disciples, what is impossible for man is possible with God. I trust God to take care of you from here on out. I love you and I forgive you. If you were here now, I would give you the biggest hug you have ever had. Let us pray. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread, and forgive our debts, as we also have forgiven our debtors, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. Thank you for giving me another day, another opportunity to glorify your name. Thank you for using me today to share your love, joy, and peace with your child who is hurting. Please fill his heart with your love, expand his mind with your words, heal his body from any physical pains, and saturate his soul with your peace and joy. We trust you, we love you, always and forever. Amen.
Thank you, Lindsay. Next, we have Ken Klein. After Ken will be Deja Reed.
Thanks, school board, very much for having this time for us to talk to you. I was going to say a few other things, but obviously things have changed in the last few hours. I want to do a little bit of thank yous. Number one, I wanted to thank brave students who, when they saw something, they said something. It is likely possible and probable that they saved lives that day. I want to say thank you to the responding school district staff for their immediate response, their professionalism, and calmness. I want to say thank you to the city of Arlington and the school district for having a police officer on site to handle these sorts of situations. And I want to thank him specifically for being willing to intervene and protect students and staff. I want to thank the community for coming out so strongly to advocate for a safe learning environment for students. I'd like to thank Gary Sable for definitely earning his paycheck this week. I really appreciate his timely response to my questions. And finally, I want to thank the school board for stepping out to represent the community. I know it's not a very easy job, especially on a tough issue like this, but I do thank you for stepping out and for your support in bringing this issue to a successful conclusion. But I think what this issue has showed me is that it's imperative for all of us to advocate for the tools that you all need to stop this from happening in the future. We need to make sure that the state legislature understands what the law says and what it does. We have to make sure that it's changed so that when a similar situation is brought before, you guys can say, I'm sorry, this is not the right environment for this student. This, a different environment is what is necessary. So I commit to advocating for a change in the state law to make it easy for you all to step in and to make an assertive decision faster. And I will commit to do so. I will push it forward in whatever capacity I can. I know the community will as well, and I hope the school board will as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Next up is Deja Reed. After Deja will be Chris Stevenson.
Me. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Deja Reed. I graduated from Arlington High School in June of this year after completing my entire primary schooling in Arlington School District. Last school year, I served my last year of high school as a student rep on this board. Throughout my time in these schools, my number one worry walking through the doors each day was dying at the hands of a classmate. While I am free from the constant fear of being shot down at school, my 7-year-old sister is still in your care. My best friends and people I love dearly still walk these halls each day, while each of you chooses to put their lives at risk. By allowing students who are actively endangering innocent children back into schools over and over again, you choose the potential of one individual over the safety and security of more than 5,000 other lives. On June 7, 2024, a student in my grade left bullets in a bathroom sink and a note detailing his intention to use them. He returned to school days later. These students are committing acts of terrorism in an academic setting by instilling fear in students, teachers, and other school employees. Environments like Arlington damage the mental state of each of these people. These felons and your desire to save money over lives should not be valued over the sense of safety and security that all children deserve to have while in school and on school grounds. Arlington School District prides itself on being equity-minded. You cannot create conditions for student and staff success while putting them in danger by making decisions like this. It is time to actually take accountability and give up your inequitable practice of only giving kids that you deem deserving of specialized environments the help that they need. Any student comfortable with bringing weapons to school with the intention to kill or cause any sort of harm needs specific treatment that a one-on-one cannot give them. You are sacrificing the safety of thousands to save a few extra dollars, then you turn and cry to the community when they aren't willing to give you more money. Arlington is standing right in front of this board telling you what they need. What do we have to do to finally get change out of you? Does Arlington High School have to become another hashtag? Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Deja. Next up, we have Chris Stevenson. After Chris will be Jennifer Suter. Said that right.
Hello. I'm a father of a daughter that's in Arlington High School. I have another one coming up next year. She'll be attending. And I don't like a lot of people, like big crowds or anything, or public speaking. I'm actually terrified of it. So the fact that I have to come out here right now, I think should say a lot. And I think the fact that everybody that is here already should say a lot. You know, I think it was a dangerous decision of what you guys proposed, you know, to have somebody come back that, you know, would even think of bringing a gun to school, not only a gun, but one that was loaded with a second mag. To me, that shows intent to discharge and to reload. So that's kind of a big deal. And, you know, your solution to have them followed around by a staff member, well, I understand what you're trying to do there, but I don't believe that would benefit anything, let alone if you guys really have the resources for that. Because what happens if it happens again? Does every student get a secondary teacher there? You know, what happens there? Or if it, you know, now he's looked at as a, oh my gosh, what's the word? You know, somebody to look up to for the other kids. Oh, getting special treatment. He's getting followed around. And, you know, wouldn't that entice other people to, you know, think it's cool? It's just kind of, you know, what I would think would happen because they're kids and they look up to stuff like this. You know, anybody who gets special treatment, it's kind of what happens. Other kids start to follow suit. And so, I guess everything that, you know, I originally had said has pretty much already been said. So I just want to let you know how disappointed I am to not only hear it just from, you know, you guys send out the call a couple days after it blows up and everybody's upset. Didn't know about it. I found out through Facebook. And I'm glad that we have, you know, real journalists such as Brandy Cruz to break a story like this to where other people can actually, you know, hear about it. And it's sad that we have to hear about it there instead of from you guys first. So with that being said, you know, I think that there's too many other options for education, and I hope that he can rehabilitate, and it just needs to be done somewhere else. You know, if COVID taught us anything, that we really learned how to learn online. So if it was good enough for our kids then, I think it's good enough for him now.
Next up is Jennifer, and Jennifer will be followed by Michael, who is our last person that has signed up.
So you'll have to forgive me because I don't have anything written down. My name is Jennifer Suter. I graduated Arlington High School in 2024. I just wanted to speak on the topic of him coming back to school. First of all, I don't think it's fair that his ability to learn should be put before everybody else's. I personally feel like this was handled extremely poorly. I don't feel like I've ever really truly felt safe at Arlington High School. The amount of things that have happened that have made me feel extremely anxious to go back to school, surrounding things like lockdowns. There's quite a few things that have happened, but I feel like things going forward need to be handled better in terms of making sure kids feel safe at school. Like, for example, literally my last day of high school, somebody put a bullet in the sink and it said, you know, you're next or something like that. And, you know, a separate occasion, I remember several times we would have lockdown drills and we would never be told that they were drills. But nobody who is making the decisions surrounding all of these issues has been in high school since Columbine happened and since more and more school shootings have happened. And I feel like you guys don't really understand what it feels like to go to school in this day and age. And it's especially not helped by things like this and people being allowed back in school after quite literally, like, we don't know if he, you know, intended to commit a school shooting or not, but regardless, nobody knows what's inside his head. But you guys don't know what it's like to sit inside of a dark room during a lockdown, not knowing if it's, you know, if it's about to be your last moment, texting your parents goodbye, all this other stuff, just because the school made a mistake and didn't tell people whether the lockdown was real. But different things like that make kids not feel safe, and I don't feel like they're addressed nearly enough. And I feel like a lot more needs to be done, especially regarding this situation. But I myself, like I said, I've never truly felt safe because of the amount of things that have happened. It needs to be put into online school and not allowed back in. That's all I have to say.
This must be my book.
Thank you. I'm unprepared. I didn't know that it changed today, and I thank all of you for that. My main problem was I heard on Facebook and not from the school district. Now, I understand maybe there are privacy laws, not sure, but that was my main point. Also, I just can't imagine bringing a loaded weapon with multiple magazines onto school property and ever being allowed back. It's especially after Marysville. How soon we forget about Marysville? I mean, it's insane. So I would advocate that, and let me know how I can help. We change state laws, school district laws. These kids need to be safe. I just graduated one. I have a freshman coming in this year. And I think we're all on the same team. We all want the same thing. And it's just kind of simple math there. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. I want to see if our two that weren't able to speak, if they are here in the audience or on Zoom, Stacy Cameron or Alexis Lowe, or either one. Here, I want to give them the chance to speak if they wanted to. Nope, I'm seeing no movement. All right. If there's no one else that has signed up to speak in advance, and we are done with our public comment portion of our meeting. Thank you for your patience. We're going to move on to the next portion of our meeting, and you're welcome to stay if you would like. It's on your agenda. The next item on our agenda. Okay, now I want to see your dance.
It's hard to do this.
Yes. He's running away. Hi, dear. You're not here for the rest of the meeting.
Gosh, that's such juicy stuff going on.
Carl has a great.
You're gonna take an advisory vote.
Would you mind shutting that door? Thank you, Rebecca. Next up on our agenda is our consent agenda. Is there anything anyone would like to pull from our consent agenda for further review and discussion? Or do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
I make a motion, we approve the consent agenda as presented.
It's been moved by Director Kelly and seconded by Director Watts to approve the consent agenda as adopted, as presented, whatever, words hard. Yes.
Director Diamond.
Aye.
Director Kelly.
Aye.
Director Watts.
Aye.
President Levesque.
Aye.
Director Neff.
Aye. The consent agenda is approved. That brings us to our new business portion of our meeting. The first thing on our new business is our annual program compliance report. Dr. Sweeting.
So in policy 2106, it has items A through L that we, every year, we take a look at this, and it's the reminder of how we're meeting each of those items. So what's listed, for example, A is appropriate measures are to safeguard all student and school district permanent records against loss or damage. And what we have that protects that is we have policy 4040 that describes, and policy 3231. So in this case, there is an item, and then how are we making sure that we are maintaining that. The second one is provision is made for supervision of instructional practices and procedures. And we have procedure, policy and a procedure, but 5240, evaluation of staff. C is instructional materials and required courses. We have policy 2020 that talks about how our course, the course design of how do we select courses and how do we adopt. So it describes that. And then B is a program of guidance and counseling and testing services. And that describes what that looks like. Policy 2140, comprehensive school counseling program. E, a learning resources program is maintained. We have policy 2090, program evaluation, and policy 2104, which talks about our federal and or state funded special instructional programs. Under EF, the physical facilities of each building are adequate and appropriate for educational programs offered. And we have policy 6800, safety, operations, and maintenance of school property. G, there is adequate provision for the health and safety of all students with the custody of the school district. And this has to do in particular with student health. And so we have policy 3410. And going to H, there's a current policy statement pertaining to the administration and operation of school district available online and in each administrative building office, including but not limited to policies governing the school building and classroom visitation rights of non-students, so of volunteers. So you see there's policy 4200, which talks about parent access and safe and orderly learning environment. What are those out? What are the steps? Then the next statement is really a statement that talks about that we will not discriminate in any way. So long list. So we have the 3210, which is non-discrimination and inclusive schools. J talks about within each school, the school principal has determined that appropriate student discipline is established and enforced. And so we have it's very extensive policy 3241 and procedure 3241P that talk about student discipline. And then K, written high school graduation requirements, that's policy 2410. It outlines what are all the requirements for a student to graduate. And they're outlined there. And finally, L talks about equivalence among schools, especially in choosing curriculum and materials and supplies and staffing among schools which receive Title I funds. And we do a comparability report that's completed each year by the Director of Categorical Programs. This is for 2106 program compliance, and this is a report, it's not an action item.
Thank you, Dr. Sweeting. Next up on our new business portion of our meeting is our 2025 interest and 2026 interscholastic activities report. So this is a great, item because it really shares with you as a board and our community, what do we have available as far as sports and activities at each of our schools, our secondary schools. So here, the Arlington High School, you can see the different athletic activities, and then down below this, it has the interscholastic activities, all the clubs, and we have a lot, there, and it's something to be proud of. Then moving on down to Howler and to Post, for each of those schools, these are the activities, these are the sports that are available for students. And we look at this to make sure that there's an even balance of girls' sports and boys' sports. So you can see what those are. And you can notice that at both middle schools, we have robotics, opportunities there. We have instrumental and vocal music. And that really feeds into the high school of having such an amazing arts program that we have. Mm-hmm. Then moving on down, we do have schools of choice. We have Weston and we have still Squamish Valley Learning Center and homeschool students. And those students can access these activities that are available in our district. And you can see that Weston, one of the schools of choice, does have the HOSA club, CTE club. So those are just informing the board again in our community of the interscholastic activities that we have available for this school year. Thank you, Dr. Sweeting. The next item on our new business is our highlights of our summer programs 24-25. And we would like to welcome up to the podium Carl Olson, our Director of Pedagogical Programs, and Marilee Herman, our AHS Principal. Welcome, good evening. Yeah.
So I'm Carl Olson, Director of Categorical Programs.
And Marilee Herman, Arlington High School Principal. We are giving out autographs later.
Let's go.
Team.
People were here, and we thought they were here for us.
Sorry.
We're here for you.
Thank you. Autographs that were.
So this year, we're here to share about our summer programs, and we're gonna go ahead and get started with one that we added this year. For the first time that I can remember, we had a summer camp for highly capable. And this was actually through a program from the National Hall of Fame, the Inventors Hall of Fame, which some of you may have heard of. It was a program where families did have to pay in order to attend, and they actually hired our staff to run it. And then I was there as maybe the mascot, kind of keep those things running. But it was wonderful. I do want to share we did have scholarships for this opportunity that we were able to use too, and we were able to gather 24 second through fifth graders. This is last year's grade level. So we were looking at that elementary age. Again, it was called Camp Intervention. We decided to have it at Weston High School, which turned out to be perfect. We needed space to spread out. We needed a place to eat. I mean, it was an all-day, 8-hour day for these kids. And so we were definitely taking full advantage of the space offered there for the work that they were doing. Verlene Myers was really the head facilitator of this, no surprise there. And she did some of the initial investigation in a conference that she went to in Washington State last year, made these connections, and then we decided to do that. This is actually the same company that will be providing supplies for our enrichment program that we're starting for elementary this year. So that's a new piece also. And then we did have some staff and we had some volunteers, including one high school student who was getting her National Honor Society credit. She was there the whole time and ran games with the kids. So the focus, as you can imagine, was on STEM. They were wiring, they were creating activities where they got to launch a penguin. I'll let you just picture that in your head. Lots of inventing and learning with a focus around different inventors and what they have created. And then they would replicate things. So they created their own like Morse code device that actually could transmit to someone else's, and learning how to do those kinds of things. If you ever want to see the materials that are left, I have the boxes in my room. It's and as we shared it, it went from July 7th through 10th, so 4 very full days for the kids. We did get some input from the parents, and the parents that responded, 100% said they would recommend this experience to others because we wanted to get a sense when it's the first time, is it something that we want to continue in the future? 90% of the parents who responded shared they would attend this camp again if offered. The one who didn't, it wasn't like a negative comment. It was their kid was older, and we're still trying to find that blend when we're really looking at quite an age span. You think of a future 6th grader versus a future 3rd grader. And then also in terms of rating levels of enthusiasm, 70% were highly enthusiastic and 20% were somewhat enthusiastic. And depending on the age of the kid, again, somewhat enthusiastic can be very enthusiastic. So that was our highly capable camp. And I'll actually stop to see if you have any questions about that. I'll go back to the pictures to see if that creates any questions for you.
Which schools was there a representation from all of our elementary schools? How was the invitation sent out? Was everybody invited that was in the highly capable program, and then some weren't?
Exactly. We actually started before we even signed on by doing a couple surveys with the families just to gauge level of interest, get a sense of what barriers, We involved families with when we would have it to make sure that we could find the most optimum time. So before we ever officially scheduled it, we had gone through 2 surveys of data just to make sure that we were gonna be able to not, I guess, have barriers for kids and find out what we could do to overcome those. So, yeah, it was a good process, and yes, all highly capable kids in those grade levels were invited. And we had a lot who wanted to go, but there were still conflicts, so hopefully we can pick some of those up in the future.
Student advisory session.
Oh, you said, how many people attended, how many students again?
So we had 24 kids.
Okay.
Our goal was at least 15.
Oh, yeah.
We had heard that when you're doing something for the first time, and we were drawing from a pretty narrow group. Some districts, you can go and find these camps going all over. It's actually nationwide. There were some around us, but they're opening up beyond. We really wanted to tailor something for this group of kids. So the fact that we got 24, we were pretty excited about. And that represents roughly about, I would say 1/4 of the total amount of kids that qualify high cap. So that's.
And the age range again on this was?
Last year, 2nd through 5th grade.
Okay, so elementary.
Yeah, exactly. So just going into middle school. School bus was running again. Hopefully you saw it. Sometimes with the banner still attached to the bus as it went down the highway. Because I bought the magnets and they're still working. So this year we drew from 3 different funding sources: our LAP grant, our Title I Parent and Family Engagement grant, and then Snohomish County ECAP funds. They bought a lot of early learning kits that we were able to pass out for families. And that was actually a big push for this year, was providing things that people could do at home. So beyond just the activities that we had there, and beyond just books that kids could check out, there were different themes each week where families could take home materials, could take home activities that were laid out for them. So it could be, here is some sidewalk chalk, and here's some activities for sidewalk chalk games. Here's some things you can do with dice. Here's the dice, ready to go. And so really trying to work to extend that opportunity also. There's the crew. A lot of them are familiar people that are there every year. They're an awesome crew. We also have Maria there, so we're able to reach out to families who speak Spanish. And so that kind of adds another element. And you'll see Britt Kleiman there because we're really working on trying to reach up to the middle school age now. We did a lot of purchasing over the last 2 years of middle school age books, as well as getting recommendations from kids during the first couple of weeks so we could reach that group. So still a work in progress, but that's one of our extensions that we started last year. And then we talked a little bit about this already, but it's always good to see a picture of the library in motion. This year, our total visits were 372, so we were down some. And so what we are looking at is where we may change some stops. 2 years ago, we noticed one stop was down to maybe just 1 or 2 families, and they were driving in there, and it was at an apartment complex. So where it used to be full, that's when we added Legion Park last year. And this year, that one started to grow and becoming one of our stronger ones. In fact, at Legion Park, we worked with Stillaguamish, the Youth Connections group, and also provided some materials to families there for about the first 2 to 3 sessions. Next year, because of this, we are looking at potentially having all the sites be building-based. We started talking about looking up in the Cackman area and Bryant area, but we didn't get the best attendance when we did that many years ago. So investigating, do we just go to each building? And that would also add in Pioneer as a site, which is right in the middle of the neighborhood, and it's not currently a site. So we're looking at that. We'd love to get back up in the 400s. It's still exciting when we know there were 372 visits and book exchanges and games played, and yeah, that's still a celebration.
So the 372, is that each student's visit total, or is that how many students in total that maybe came more than once?
Right. So some students come every time. And so that would be 7 visits. Exactly.
Alex had a question.
How many like stops do you have?
Right now, we have 5. So we start at Eagle Creek, go to President's, Legion Park, and then we head off to a stop near Cemetery Road, and then back up to, why is it escaping me? Crown Ridge, the park at Crown Ridge, which was also down a lot this year. Normally, that was one of our go-to, so that's again where we're thinking, well, maybe we go to Camp Prairie, because people driving off Burn Road, well, they can't help but see it, so.
I just want to say that I talked to Kim, Dr. Allen, and she just a testament to the program. Literally did her vacation, her trip. She was off to Iceland and Ireland. She literally came back and she just didn't miss a beat. She was so very focused on attending and participating. So that's great that we have such dedicated staff that want to do this.
Really is a great group. And we have one person who we kind of hired as a sub because, and you just shared why, there's always someone who may have something, and so we just pick up.
Perfect. Speaking of a dedicated staff, my summer crew that works with me every year is real dedicated. It's pretty much us in the building with our small group of kids. Hey, Tracy. My best for that. So this summer with summer school, we had 79 enrolled. Our typical is about 120. I'm going to talk about why that's changed. It's good stuff. Out of those 79, they took 158 classes. 134 of those classes were completed. Each of those 134, that's a half credit class apiece. 19 courses were failed, either because the kids cheated, got a second chance, did it again, or because they stopped attending, sometimes because they cheated and then didn't want to come back because it's harder when you don't cheat. Learn stuff. Or we had, was our other one that they last for? Yeah, they failure to perform, the classic, right? They failure to perform, no matter, despite the help, despite all that stuff, it's just still not working to get them there. So kids that need different interventions. And then 5 that dropped no credit for different reasons, right? They just didn't show up at all or something like that. So we do a lot with our staff, little skeleton staff. I have an English teacher, a math teacher, a science teacher, and a history teacher, and then one paraeducator that we kind of direct as needed to go through that. So, and then Tracy and I run the rest of the show. So how it goes. Other ways that kids get credit, talk about this term, is backfilling. We do a lot of work with our teachers to set up contracts. So if a kid fails a class but is really close to passing, a lot of times we set up contracts. So later I'll have an update for you about where we're at on grad rates and things like that. But I still have some great changes coming in, actually a big pile that we're processing. So, because there are other ways, a lot of teacher contracts, teachers are willing to work with kids. And then of course, mastery-based credit in our English math programs. We did use LAP funds for this as well this year. May need to get a little bit more creative next year, but that worked great for this year. Student passing rate, 85%. My free and reduced lunch kiddos, 84%. 75 for free and McKinney Bento kiddos, and then 95% for my other group. Talked about 79 kids. Okay, usually I have about 120, that's the classic. What we have done that's made a big difference at Arlington High School is we've added a 7th period Apex. This last year was the first time that we brought it in. So I changed a para schedule to cover 7th period. We still have a first, I just have a different para that runs that section. So we run 7 periods of Apex a day. I need to take some math clearly. But that's made a huge difference. The other thing that we have done is if a junior or senior is significantly off track, we've just scheduled them for 7th period Apex. We just put them in, and then that's not gonna work transportation wise. Parents are coming in and we'll have to come up with a different plan, but we're just doing it rather than shoving it in their regular school day when we'd like them to be taking in-person classes. We've been just putting them in that 7th period. And we do reserve our Apex credit retrieval for only juniors and seniors. There has to be a really special case where we put a sophomore in. So it's very specific who we're targeting and trying to help support. With the new program coming on this year, I'm hoping we have less cheating. I'm hearing really good things about it, so very excited. We do what we can, summer school as well as during the year. No cell phones are allowed. They have to be on securely and monitored at all times. They can't just go take tests whenever they feel like it. And all tests and quizzes have to be taken on campus. So that's made a difference, but we need a little bit more help to mitigate the cheating, I think. So good strides, but hopefully this next program is bigger strides. So questions about my summer school kiddos?
Do you ever take a survey on how that went for them in the summer? I mean, I'm just curious what the pulse is on the kids that go through it. I mean, is there a sense of relief? It's like, I was worried about what it was gonna be, but I don't know.
No, I could do that, but
It's irrelevant. I mean, I think the end result, the end game is get this done.
Yes, because it's one of several options. I mean, kids could also go through Red Comet. They could go through BYU. They could go through a different program in the summer.
It's an offering.
We're just an option for them. Yeah. So if they're not into our option, there's others can go somewhere else, but. Thoughts, questions? Uh-huh.
Yay, here we go. Thank you, Carla Marilyn. Next up is the highlights of our special education extended school year 24-25, and we would like to welcome Brenda Hyman, our Director of Special Education E8, and Rebecca Suday. Did I say that right? Yep, our teacher at the Life Skills Program at Arlington High School. Welcome.
Yep. Right. We're excited to share with you some of the highlights from ESY this year. Rebecca today has been teaching ESY for 8 years, so she is a gift taking time in her summer. Extended school year for 2025, it ran from June 28th to July 17th. We run it 4 days a week for 3 hours per day. This year, 16 students attended, 8 high school students, 6 middle school students, and 1 elementary student. And for staff, you can see we had Rebecca as the teacher, 3 RBTs, and 4 paras. For qualifying for ESY, an IEP team has data that shows like significant regression in skills after a long break. And then after that long break, they'll also see how much time it takes for the students to regain that skill. And if it's an extended time, which is typically longer than the break itself, then that would qualify them for extended school year. So it's not just to continue working on the IEPs that goals necessarily, but really identifying that regression. Okay, Rebecca's going to share some highlights.
So the kids come to summer school. So we do combine all age levels, and it works out really well. They all kind of just help each other, and it's really nice to see that. So they all come with different goals. Some might come for academic goals, or some might come more for like the social and emotional goals. So we do like to take pictures and send it to the parents because it makes them very happy to know what their kids are doing during the day, as not all of them can communicate that. So you'll see that one of the kiddos right now is working on math, and we do a lot of small group work. That is working on IEP math. Oh, yeah. And this is more academic goals. You can see that another student is reading and working on comprehension questions. Another student is typing. And then we also work on some personal information. This is more academic goals, working on personal information again, and then working on counting money and learning money so she can go out into the community. And another big part of just teaching in general, but summer school is working on building those relationships. Being gone so long, having the students come during summer school to keep those relationships with me, with the paras, helps with the easier transition back into school when it starts. This is a student we got towards the very end of the year. So it was nice for him to be able to come to summer school and continue to build those relationships with me as his teacher. We also have social interactions and some fun time where we can all come together and work on social skills and just kind of have a fun break. So we played some Jenga, and it's very scary sometimes. And then I also think it's very important to celebrate the little wins and things. So we did celebrate some of the kiddos' birthdays. And so We make banners and balloons and have cupcakes, and we just celebrate the student.
Questions? Yes.
So when you're working with them over the summer then for that block of time, do you then, I'd say, update their IEP or do you put in the IEPs what you've done over the summer? Or is that just kind of its own entity, what you've done over the summer? I don't know if that.
Oh, like when we do progress reports?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we'll put that data.
You'll put that data. So then they, after you're finished with that time, what was it, 4 weeks long?
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
3 weeks long. So then they have the remainder of the summer break and then they come back in the fall. And then that would be like, oh, that would be, I think a teacher could, I mean, some of them are coming back to you.
Yeah, and I'll share that data with their teachers if
With their
they're at
teachers.
different levels too.
Great.
That's great.
So there's no changing of goals, just an update on the progress.
Right, an update, yeah, absolutely not no, because it's a year long, yeah, good to know.
Any other questions? All right, thank you so much. Great pictures too.
That was right. That's right.
And all-
Even the drawings.
How are we doing? Everything okay? We don't need a bathroom break.
Yeah, okay. 14, we can do it before 8, I think we can.
Okay. Next up is our resolution 2513 authorization to transfer investment interest earnings. We would like to welcome Gina Zutenhorst, our Executive Director of Financial Services.
Good afternoon. So I am proposing for board adoption, Resolution 2513, and it is an authorization to transfer investment interest earnings. And why we're coming with this is that the county has asked to have us reauthorize the authority that they have been exercising